So Solo came out and basically followed through with all the predictions I made about it in my trailer review. It ended up being a generic sci-fi action movie that basically followed a checklist of events that Star Wars fans expected to be in a solo Han Solo movie. However, the way it turned out gives me more reason to fear the outcome of future Star Wars projects down the line. The fact that a new film is going to be released annually already had me worried about a decrease in quality. I was hoping that these Star Wars spin-offs would at least be far enough removed from the main series of films in order to give us a fresh look on different parts of the universe so that audiences wouldn't get burned out over the same stuff we've come to expect from the existing franchise. So far that hasn't been the case. Rogue One and Solo both heavily rely on references to the original trilogy, which is why those films didn't really impress me much. Like, how many times are we going to be amazed by the Millennium Falcon in a trailer? Solo especially was more guilty of this and had basically nothing else to offer as a standalone movie. Rogue One at least had something going on with its new lead character and more gritty take on the Star Wars universe. First of all, just visually, Solo looks like shit in my opinion. It's so drab and bleak looking, almost like everything is tinted the same color. More importantly, the story itself was incredibly lazy. It felt like the writers had written the most basic of a heist story and then tried to just force everything that makes Han Solo into it. Like, you're telling me that Han got his gun, the Falcon, met Chewie, met Lando, and did the castle run all in the same few days? What really bugged me though is that Han had no character arc in this movie. The whole movie had him act as the conniving smuggler we all know from beginning to end. Nothing about this series of events changed the way I look at the character in the other films, which is the whole point of making a prequel like this. Having no development or growth makes the whole thing meaningless, which is why everyone is saying they just made this for money. I think it would have been more interesting to see Han go through a bigger change. After what we saw of him in the opening scenes, this entire adventure felt more just like a day in the life for him. It felt like someone could have just told me the events of the movie, and it would have had the same impact because there aren't any big character moments that really matter. Like, if I told you what happened in Logan or Infinity War, it wouldn't feel the same as if you actually watched those films and invested yourself in the emotion exuding out of the scenes with those characters. Just a warning, I'm gonna go into minor spoilers here, so if you haven't seen the movie, this is the time to click off. You can skip to this part of the video to see my rating. So Darth Maul makes a cameo in this movie, which was cool but so out of place. I don't get what they were trying to accomplish here. It seemed like they had used so many original trilogy references in the past that they're now relying on prequel stuff to get us more hyped for future movies. However, in the context of the story, it felt more like forced nostalgia to try to put fans in a more excited mood leaving the theater. It was pretty dumb that he pulled out his lightsaber, by the way. There was literally no reason for him to do that other than to get people to definitively understand that that was Darth Maul. You know, if you couldn't understand by the Duel of the Fates theme playing in the background. So yeah, Solo was a pretty big disappointment. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. The whole thing just felt so soulless and lazy and lacked any real emotion. I really hope the Boba Fett film is a more personal story that doesn't try to always link back to any of the past movies and has its own distinct style that makes it feel like we're not watching a Star Wars movie. In other words, they gotta start making these Solo movies truly solo.